Hello and welcome back to Lithgow City Raceway for the final race of the 2019 Go Race promotion season. We are getting set for the big guns of karting, the New South Wales KZ2 Super Series, to hit the track for one last time in 2019, and this is going to be an epic showdown. This race is for a championship. Chris Sutherland in the number 12 is taking on Dean Starling, the current series leader. With only a handful of points between the two men, the situation is very tight indeed. Basically, the point situation will be that if Chris Sutherland wins, Dean Starling has to finish third in order to win the championship. So it is all for keeps this round, or this race, between Chris Sutherland and Dean Starling. And we're sure that this is going to be an excellent race to watch. As we look at Daniel Orsini from the KZ2 Masters, starting 8th overall. Unfortunately, KZ2 Masters is all wrapped up. It was wrapped up a bit earlier today with Daniel Orsini, your 2019 champion, making it 3 KZ2 Masters crowns. After such a brilliant season, having to take on Greg Holden, then later Craig Deans, coming into the final round. As we look at Dean Starling, this is the current championship leader in the KZ2 Super Series. He's had a bit of a tough day. He's had a bit of assistance from Matthew Erdman, with Erdman winning many of the heats. But Starling has it all to do, and all the pressure is on him. Can he get onto the podium? Can he hope that Chris Sutherland doesn't win this race? We'll find out in about 20 laps' time when these cuts take off for the final race of 2019, as we look at Craig Deans, starting 9th and 3rd in the Masters. Had a great year, Craig Deans. Huge improvements throughout the year, thanks to the tutelage and mentoring from the Erdmans. And Craig Deans will surely feature in the 2020 season in the KZ2 Masters. As we have a look at Ashley Chabaya, obviously we cannot go without focusing on this young lady. Fantastic competitor, brilliant personality on the grid, and a fantastic addition to the K New South Wales ambassador, or as the K New South Wales ambassador. And we cannot wait to see what she can do in this race and then in future seasons to come. As we look at Christopher Sutherland, he's in the prime position. He is starting off of pole. He is second in the championship, and he wants this championship. He really wants it so badly. He's been sitting down, crunching all the points. He's been sitting there looking at his data, and he knows what he needs to do. First, it'll probably be a case of win it or bin it for Sutherland. We're about to find out as we take a walk up the grid for the final time in 2019, as we are set to take on the Lithgow City Raceway for 20 laps to find out just who will take out the 2019 championship. Will it be Chris Sutherland or will it be Dean Starling? We're about to get this race started in order to find out. So as we get set to say goodbye to 2019, let's run through the grid one last time. On pole position is Chris Sutherland, second in the championship. We all know the championship implications at this stage. Staying beside him is Matthew Erdman. In third on the second row is Zach Zamprogno, while staying beside him is Dean Starling. All the pressure on that man. Ashley Chabaya starts out at 5th position, while Eugene Lee rounds out the third row of the grid. Greg Holden, starting out 7th, is the first of the KZ2 Masters. A long-awaited return for Greg Holden after missing the last 2 rounds. Really hurt his championship, but he is back to wrap up 2019 with what he could have achieved this year. So beside Holden will be Daniel Orsini in the number 19 PCR, while in 9th position will be Craig Deans in the number 25. Out of 10th will be Jack Lemon, the KZ2 Super Series debutant, while in 11th will be Trevor Hall, and in 12th place, rounding out the field, will be Glenn Linnett. The 12 drivers set to make a start, as there is one man where we'll be focusing on in this race. Must be going through his mind, Dean Starling. He's had a lot of assistance from Matthew Erdman, with Erdman winning the first 2 heats and holding off the charge of Chris Sutherland, but Sutherland got through in the pre-final to take out the pre-final and put himself on pole position. we'll wait and see. 20 laps of this 750 odd metre Lithgow City Raceway. Provides some of the closest and toughest racing we have ever seen on the calendar. So there's Chris Sutherland. Looking very relaxed as usual in the kart. Well, beside him will be Matthew Urban and of course Zach Zamprogno in the number 11. A very busy man, Zach Zamprogno. We've missed him in the 2019 series. But of course Zamprogno racing overseas in New Zealand and also racing for the factory CRG racing team in Italy at the World Championships. So will he play a part in this final race for 2019 as the field starts to get set for a start. Chris Sutherland on pole position, Dean Starling out of fourth. Last card in position, we are ready to go racing, and we are racing! And a great start from Matthew Erdman, but a shocking start from Chris Sutherland. So Erdman will get the whole shot going into turn one. This is a dream come true for Starling, but a nightmare for Sutherland as the field piles through turn two. Looks like everyone got through cleanly, not a touch or a scrape between them, but a dream start for Erdman, and he is out in front. Erdman, he cannot win the championship, but he just wants a win to round out 2019, so he doesn't care about the championship. As behind him, Zamprogno dives up the inside of Sutherland. They make contact, but Sutherland, he is not having any of that as he fights back into the second last corner. And he is back into second. But that is not what he wanted to see. Matthew Erdman in the number 60 streaking away. This is for the championship. And it is not what he wanted to see at all. So now Sutherland will have to put his head down and close that gap. It's up to about, looks like about 7/10 of a second at the end of the first lap. As we round the hairpin one more time, Matthew Erdman out in front ahead of Chris Sutherland. So as it stands, Dean Starling is the KZ2 Super Series champion for 2019. But will it stay like this? We still have 18 laps left to run as they streak down the main straight one more time and into turn one. The top three starting to break away from Starling, so Starling really needs to hope that Sutherland cannot bridge that gap to Erdman in order for him to win this championship. But you can just see how hard Sutherland is trying. He really wants this championship. While Erdman doesn't care about the championship. He just wants a win to round out a very tough 2019 season. As once again they round the final corner and streak down the main straight. The top five starting to pull away while Greg Holden is in first in the KZ2 Masters, and we focus on Daniel Orsini as he leads his good friend Craig Dean to the number 25 CRG. This race is just a race for pride and confidence heading into the 2020 season with Daniel Orsini, your KZ2 Masters champion, as we see a kart going very slowly around the third corner. Looks like Glenn Leonard. So technical dramas for the number 88 TB kart as Dean pulls up beside Orsini. He's on the wrong side of the track and Orsini defends the position well. So once again, they tick off another lap. Orsini with Deans all over him. Though Orsini doesn't seem too stressed, he knows he's won the championship as they come around turn two. And Deans goes up the inside into turn three. A great move. So Deans now takes over second place in the KZ2 Masters. Can he try and chase down the number 21 of Greg Holden and try and take back a little bit of pride going into the new season of 2020? As we look at Greg Holden, what a great debut season Holden has had. He's won 2 of his appearances in the KZ2 Masters, and at the moment he is looking to take out 3. Really lit the class on fire when he made his debut at Circuit Mark Webber at the start of the year, winning the KZ2 Masters on debut. And unfortunately he missed Dubbo and he missed Griffith, and that put an end to his 2019 championship hopes. As he streaks down the main straight one more time, ticking off another lap. He's got a comfortable lead over Craig Deans and Daniel Orsini. So you can be sure that Holden will not be making too many mistakes in this final. As we refocus on a battle between Daniel Orsini and Jack Lemon. Lemon in the number 44 Ricciardo kart. This is not for positioning class, with Daniel Orsini being a KZ2 Master and Jack Lemon being in the KZ2 Super Series. As we refocus on the lead as Chris Sutherland has actually bridged the gap to Matthew Erdman. So now the championship is on again. Can Sutherland work his way around Matthew Erdman? Both these two drivers have got quite a reputation at national level. Erdman being a stalwart of the KZ2 class, while Chris Sutherland has been a recent revelation in the class. He had a great appearance at the Race of Stars in October, starting near the back of the field and finishing 11th against not just the best in Australia, but the best in the world. And now he wants to add the KZ2 Super Series crown to his collection. He has to get round the number 60 first and then hope that no dramas actually happen later in the race as he thinks about a move going into the hairpin. As they head up the hill one more time, Erdman really sliding the cart into the second last corner. He is pushing hard. He can probably hear that TM engine screaming behind him. So now Sutherland. He's probably aware that he's got a bit of a gap to Zamprogno. He knows he can probably take his time to get this move done cleanly. He knows that he has to get around Erdman. He has to win this race. He's been sitting down all day working out the championship points. So he is aware of the situation, but can Erdman hold off Sutherland as we come down the main straight? As Sutherland pulls out of the slipstream going into turn one, this is for the championship. They touch, but Sutherland, he hangs on, and Zamprogno gets in there as well. So Erdman cannot hold off Sutherland, and Sutherland is now in the lead of the final race of 2019. And as it stands, he has taken the lead of the KZ2 Super Series Championship. So unless something happens, Sutherland will be your 2019 champion. Starling in the background there, he is helpless. He cannot get onto the back of Zamprogno or Erdman. He needs to hope that these three start getting into a real melee to drag himself back into the fight. Sutherland looking like he's starting to get his head down and opening up that gap between himself and Erdman. He wants that buffer. He wants to be safe. While Erdman just wants to get back in touch and win this race. Both these men have had up and down year in 2019. But Sutherland really driving as good as I've ever seen him race. He's worked so hard over the last 2 to 3 years since joining the KZ2 class. Swapping from Energy to CRG last year. Sorry, from Energy to CRG last year. My mistake. And the swap has really helped him. As we look at this battle between Erdman and Zamprogno, Erdman just doesn't seem to have anything for Sutherland, it seems. He'll be trying to hang on to beat Zamprogno in this final race. As we talk about great years, a fantastic year for Zamprogno, real learning experience. Racing overseas in New Zealand, in the New Zealand Championships, and then racing at the World Championships with CRG. He is really a rising young talent, Zach Zamprogno. He will continue to get better. If we look back at Dean Starling, what must be going through his mind right about now? He would have seen that Sutherland went for the move on Erdman, and he would have seen that the move worked. You can see that he is not quite catching Erdman or Zamprogno, so he needs to hope that there is a problem for the drivers ahead. And that's not too outlandish to think about if we cast our minds back to 2016 with the unfortunate demise in the final race of that season of Josh Buchan. A broken gear linkage in that case ended the title hopes of Josh Buchan and handed the 2016 championship to Matthew Erdman. Well, Starling again finished on the podium. As we look back at Eugene Lee, a driver who has really been improving all year round. Worked really hard on his racing, worked really hard on his driving. He's just getting better and better with each race. Can he be a feature in the 2020 championship? As it stands, he will take out 4th in the championship. As we look back at Ashley Chabert, once again, we keep saying this. This field of drivers just keeps getting better, and this is another young driver that is just getting better with each season. Ashley Chabert has had a much better year than years gone past, showing much more maturity and a much better racecraft, finishing more races, being much more competitive as well. Having the honour of becoming the Karting New South Wales ambassador as well. We honestly cannot think of a better person to take on the role. Such a fantastic personality off the track, young Chabert. As we now look back at Craig Deans, once again we will keep on saying it. Improvements, 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 and Craig Deans is one who is just improving in leaps and bounds. He's got a bit of a battle for him in the dying stages of this race, although not for position with Jack Lemon, the KZ2 Super Series debutant, closing in on the back of him. Jack Lemon making his KZ2, his first appearance in KZ2. He's really been loving the experience, although not really enjoying the starts. Find that it is very tough to get these KZ2 karts off the line effectively. Looks to be having a real good fun fight with Craig Deans as we focus back on Chris Sutherland as we begin the final lap of 2019. Just 700 metres stands between Chris Sutherland and the championship. There's still plenty of time for disaster to strike this young man, but he is just driving unbelievably well. As he looks over his shoulder, he is now aware that Zamprogno is in 3rd and Erdman is in 2nd. He knows that he has got the championship. As he rounds the final corner, Chris Sutherland will be a 2019 KZ2 Super Series champion. A brilliant drive from Chris Sutherland to recover from a horrible start. As we look back at Dean Starling, another year, another appearance on the championship podium. Greg Holden crosses the line after Eugene Lee 5th overall. We've lost Ashley Chabert. As Craig Deans and Jack Lemon finish up their little battle, with Deans ending up on top. And Daniel Orsini, the 2019 KZ2 Masters champion. That's crown number 3 for Orsini. As we look at Chris Sutherland, he will be overjoyed. He's worked so hard for this championship. He will deserve every single bit of congratulations that goes towards him on that in-grid. So Orsini just looks relieved that the 2019 series is over and he gets to take home some more silverware. As we now look at the final standings, Christopher Sutherland is your winner ahead of Matthew Erdman and Zach Zamprogno. Dean Starling, unfortunately, 4th place will not be enough to secure his first championship. As the field continues down with Eugene Lee in 4th place, Greg Holden rounding out the top 5 of the finishing order and the first of the KZ2 Masters. As we look at the final points, starting with the KZ2 Masters, Daniel Orsini on top, ahead of Craig Deans and Greg Holden. Trevor Hall comes home in 4th position, while Glenn Linnett rounds out the top 5. So another year, another shoey for Daniel Orsini. Can anyone knock him off his perch in 2020 in the KZ2 Masters Championship? As we move on to the KZ2 Super Series, with Christopher Sutherland on top ahead of Dean Starling. Just 5 points separating those two at the end of it all. Heartbreaking for Dean Starling. Matthew Erdman, another strong year, 3rd place, while Eugene Lee comes home in 4th, and Ashley Chabert records her best finish in the series in 5th place, rounding out the top 5 for the KZ2 Super Series. So that's it for another year of KZ2 action in New South Wales. The New South Wales KZ2 Super Series will be back next year, and we hope you can join us for that one. My name is Matthew Nipris from Go Race Promotions, and I thank you for joining us for the last time in 2019.